What's going on, YouTube? I just figure touch base with you guys. Go and answer one of the questions that I get DM'd the most, bar none. We're on our way to Lake Oneida right now. I've got like 6 or 7 more hours of driving. Tell them, hey, Brett. Hey, wifey's right there.
Hello.
So, wifey's right here. So, one of the questions that I'm asked the most is how to be a professional fisherman.
Yep.
And I'm always like really on the fence about answering that question because I'm just getting started. So, I don't really feel at liberty to be giving people advice on how to be a professional fisherman. But I get it. It's asked so much that I feel like I guess the least I can do is share where I started and how I got to where I am at now. So it'll take a little while, and I'll go through as much detail and share as much that I can, the parts that I think will definitely help you, some of the mistakes that I made and some of the things I did right. So just totally raw video, raw, uncut. And everybody wants to know how to be a professional fisherman. First thing you got to do, most of the time when people ask me that, the first thing I ask is, what are you fishing now? So, and I talk to so many people and they're not fishing anything. So you got to fish a tournament. So for me, I started, I was somewhat fortunate. My dad was a tournament fisherman, so I got to start in the back of the boat fishing club tournaments. So I definitely suggest, if you're not fishing anything, tomorrow or next weekend, you need to join a club, a high school club, a club tournament in your area. Most of the time those are going to be really affordable tournaments. So I started fishing clubs when I graduated from high school. So when I got my first boat, I was 19 years old. I bought my dad's bass boat, his older bass boat, and he bought a new one. And I started fishing club tournaments. These club tournaments were like, back in the day, I think like $25 to enter. I practiced so hard for them tournaments. I practiced like it was a Bassmaster Classic. And so I fished the club tournaments. I went on to go to technical school. I always knew I wanted to fish. And we're talking 15 years ago, there was no college fishing. So I just college didn't make sense. 4-year college didn't make sense to me. I didn't want to come out of school with a whole bunch of debt, not be able to buy a boat, not be able to fish. It didn't make sense to me. So I went to tech school for 2 years, got an associate's degree in horticulture. And my family owns a landscaping business. Went to start my own landscaping business, and I fished and I worked. That's all I did, was fish and work. There was no hanging out late at night on the weekends. There was no partying. There was no going to the beach. I hear a lot of people say, well, I don't have the money to do this or that, and then I see their Instagram feed and they're like at the beach or they're in Mexico, and I'm like, there's your tournament entry fee right there, or you're drinking on the weekends or whatever. There was no party time for me in my early 20s, late teens, early 20s. It was either fishing or working. So I started off there. After I got done with my associate's degree at technical school, I started fishing the BFLs, which is sort of like the grassroots level of bass fishing. And I fished those from 2004 until 2007. I fished them religiously. I fished them every year, every tournament for the division in my state. And that was kind of the gateway for me getting to where I am now. I won a BFL in 2007, and that financed my ability to go fish what was then called the Everstarts, which is sort of like the semi-pro or minor leagues of the fishing world. And 2008, my wife and I were dating then. We got married in 2008, and that was That was my first year fishing the semi-pro level. Did not do well at all. I didn't cash a single check my first year. I did really well in the BFLs. I won a BFL, runner-up, several top 10s. When I got to the AAA level, there were some roadblocks there. There's a lot I had to learn, a lot I still need to learn. There, I didn't do really well there. So I fished that 2008. I didn't have enough money to fish in 2009 or 2010. So I kind of dibby-daddled in a few BFLs. I fished like one or two Everstars both of those years. Just the first one, I didn't cash checks, so I didn't get to fish the rest of them. Turn that down just for a minute, okay, babe? And so I couldn't fish those. And then 2011, I started all over again. I fished nothing but the BFLs in 2011, and did really well again. That gave me some more cash to finance getting back out there on the Everstars again. So 2011 was really good for me on BFLs. Almost ended up winning the Angler of the Year that year. I actually led the points for like 2 tournaments in 2011 BFLs. I fished club tournaments still, and ended up winning our classic for my club, and that paid me like $3,000, $3,000 or $4,000. So successful year on the BFLs. Had another $3,000 or $4,000. So 2012, I rolled that money to be able to fish the Everstars again. And since 2012, it's just been, been building since then. I never had any sponsors at that point. All I had was hustle. I didn't make a lot of money. Everybody always says, you got to have money to do this, do that. I'm not sure how much money I made, but I'm pretty sure my income was less than $30,000 in my mid-20s per year. But I did a lot of hustling. I was fortunate to win a few tournaments. I raked leads, I picked up sticks, guys, I cut grass. I did whatever I had to do to get some extra money. And so 2012, I started fishing the Everstars again. I had a pretty decent time the second time. I learned from my mistakes that I had in that 2008, 2009 trip, and I was starting to build up a little bit of experience on the waterways that we were fishing. So 2012, I did pretty good. So my son Brevin was born in 2012, so I had a pretty good year that year. And in 2013, it was the year that I did really good. I fished the Everstars again. I can't remember what they called it at that point. It's what the present day Costa Series. Fished them again in 2013. And I fished those in conjunction with some local stuff. Had another successful year. And my business was starting to really prosper at that time. Just had my son, and I kind of wanted to move out of the neighborhood that we were living in. So I had like this tug of war between my fishing and my business. Fishing was going really good, my business was going really good. And I had like this crossroads that I had to choose one or the other. And that year in the Everstars, there was 4 events, and I went into the 3rd event. I was 8th ranked in the points, and I scored one of the biggest jobs that I had ever had in my business, my working business, that summer. And I thought about it, and I weighed all my options, and I decided not to go to the final Everstart event in 2013. And to this day, that haunts me as like the worst decision that I've ever made in my entire life. I think because I was thinking more about money than I was what I really wanted, where my heart was really at. It was always been in fishing, but I saw those dollar signs and I went towards the dollar signs. The worst decision I ever made in my entire life. We recovered from that, but if I could do over, I would not do that. I would have skipped that job, and I would have went and finished up that Everstar series, qualified to fish the tour that way, and just went on. I was well inside the qualifying for the tour through the Everstars that year, and I chose not to go. That was one of those mistakes I learned from, and from that day, I think after that year, I had so much remorse over making that decision and I realized that my heart was really in fishing. That's really what I wanted to do, and how I'd really be happy. Since that day, I've been like on the hardest chase in my life to make it to the tour level. So 14 and 15 were not good years for me on fishing the Everstars. I continued to fish the Everstars after that. They were not good years. I didn't catch them really well. 14 was better than 15. 15 was just flat out sour. And I just worked my tail off. I saved as much money as I can. Fortunately, in 15, I still fished some stuff local, won some money, still had a good year in my business, and I had enough money. Fortunately, on the FLW tour, the demand doesn't meet the supply, so they don't have enough pros to always fill up that qualify to fill the field. So there's always a few open spots for guys that can pay their way into the FLW tour. And I worked my butt off in the summer of 2015. I did win a couple local events, and so I had like $3,000 or $4,000 cash that I had won, and I saved quite a bit of money. So I go into this decision that fall that I wanted to fish the FLW tour. I just wanted to make a stab at it, and I go into it with like $10,000 or $12,000 in my pocket that I had saved, and a little bit that I won fishing local events, and I gave it a try. That was it. I laid it on the line and gave it a try. I didn't have enough. I didn't have all the money up front. Luckily, we had a tour event at my home lake, and I cashed a $10,000 check at that tournament. In that process, I gained a few sponsors. And so between winning that 10 and then gaining another 10 or 15 and sponsors throughout that year, that financed my whole tour season, and then I've just went on from there. So that's my story. It's a long story, and I skipped a whole bunch. There was a whole lot of stop, start, and discourage, and throwing the towel in, going back to get the towel out the laundry, all of that kind of stuff in between that. But the biggest thing is, I just want to dispel the rumor that you have to be kind of born rich to fish it. Nobody has the money at the beginning to fish the tour. No, like probably 5 people have the money to do it. So like if you're looking at your situation now and thinking, well, I don't have the money to do it. Of course you don't have the money to do it. Like, just start at 1 right now. Just start at the club level. Start at BFL. Start wherever you can, and just kind of let it build from there. So that's my story. I can't give you advice on the route that you need to take, because I haven't made it yet. I'm still on my way up the ladder, but that's my story, and that's a little bit how I got from fishing out of the back in club tournaments with my dad to fishing out of the front in FLW tour. So hope that helps. Hope that encourages somebody. You can do whatever you want to with it. Peace. I'm going to Oneida to make the classic this week.
Woo!
See ya.